Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to your favorite news destination. You're watching In Your Interest with me, Kabir Naqvi. On the show tonight, we're thrusting you into the eye of the Himalayan storm that's shaking foundations and rewriting futures. In Nepal, Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has been uninstalled after the ban on social media was removed and revoked. Nepal's capital is a powder keg at the moment. Protesters have set fire to the parliament and the top court, the Supreme Court of Nepal, symbols of the very republic they've been fighting to reform. Ministers have been thrashed, many lynched, flying kicks out there onto the streets, and the forces have been left cornered. And the Gen Z is celebrating amidst all of this chaos. And some of those pictures, little strikingly dangerous to consume. Is Gen Z truly in control? Are they really in the driving seat? Or is this the latest chapter in Nepal's endless search for its identity? The Nepali army has scrambled helicopters for emergency evacuations of the top officials and legislators, lawmakers, whilst the forces find themselves cornered against a tide of youthful rage. Kathmandu's mayor, Balendra Shah, has appealed directly to the Gen Z protesters to stay calm, urging restraint in a city teetering on anarchy. RSP President Ravi Lamichhane has been released from the Nakku jail, many saying that release specifically to protect all the other inmates, potentially signaling concessions to the demonstrators' demands, adding to the isolation. All flights at the Tirubhavan International Airport, all flight operations, they've been cancelled, with carriers like Air India scrapping the Delhi-Kathmandu routes. And due to the shutdown, the Indian citizens have been advised to defer travel to Nepal, a stark warning as borders are becoming consistently blurred in this shared neighborhood. But this isn't just a snapshot of chaos. It's the culmination of Nepal's tryst with crown, with comrade, and with constitution. A history that's been riddled with revolutions and regrets. Let's rewind the clock to understand how we really got here. In 1959, Nepal held its first democratic elections, with the Nepali Congress forming the government. But by the year 1960, King Mahendra dismissed the elected regime, imposing a party-less panchayat system that stifled dissent for decades on end. Fast forward to 1990, a mass popular movement that forced the end of the panchayat rule, ushering in a new constitution and electoral democracy. Yet, peace was fleeting. In 1996, just 6 years later, the Communist Party of Nepal, Maoist, launched a brutal armed insurgency against the state, seeking radical change. At least 17,000 lives were lost. The royal family itself imploded in 2001 when Crown Prince Dipendra massacred his kin, paving the way for King Gyanedra's accession amid suspicion and sorrow. And by the year 2006, nationwide protests against absolute monarchy that boiled over, just like this one, out onto the streets, leading the Maoists joining the mainstream politics in 2008 and the ultimate abolition of monarchy, transforming Nepal into a federal democratic republic. The 2015 constitution and its overhaul aimed to seal this evolution. But here we are in 2025, Gen Z protests toppling the Oli government, echoing the very movements that birthed the republic. And at the core of this cycle, a nationhood in evolution, marked by polarization and anger, corruption amplified by nepotism and zero accountability, infects every regime time on end, no matter the form of governance. Political instability thrives on factional struggles and weak party systems, turning coalitions into quicksand. And the eternal conflict between monarchy loyalists and political parties, fueled by the insurgency, with external geopolitical influences from neighbors like China, pull the strings in the internal affairs. Underpinning it all is the deep social inequities, poverty, economic underdevelopment, pushing the youth to the brink and now into the streets. Public support for a constitutional monarchy is surfacing as well, with 2025 protests. We've seen one in March already and subsequent ones in April, explicitly demanding the restoration of the Hindu Rashtra, or the Hindu state, the Hindu kingdom, to restore the cultural identity amidst perceived secular drifts. Any constitutional change, mind you, let's inform the viewers, would require two-third majority in the parliament, which is right now a tall order in this fractured landscape. We've got an informed set of panelists with us, and the big question that we're trying to decode and ask tonight is Nepal still searching for its identity, monarchy, Maoism, or democracy? Several options at display. Will the monarchy, energized by calls for a Hindu state and traditional revival, make a comeback amidst this chaos? With me on the broadcast, Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former Indian diplomat. Very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Rajeshwar Kamali, youth activist, joining us live from Kathmandu. Many thanks for joining us, Rajeshwar. Arun Subedi, geopolitical expert, somebody who's also joining us live from Kathmandu. And Surendra Shah, Assistant General Secretary of the RPP, a political party, a prominent one in Nepal, joining us live from Kathmandu. Rajeshwar, let me quickly begin with you. You yourself represent a restless generation, wouldn't you say so, now that the ire is out there onto the streets? And with the single biggest reason Gen Z has lost faith in Nepal's current democracy, they're saying this was the social media ban. Are you looking for stability in the return of monarchy or a new reimagined democracy? Is there even room for the youth right now to explore, to form better governance? What's the road ahead now here, Rajeshwar?
Actually, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me in your popular platform. The first thing is we are incredibly in the form of democracy. We are constantly. This protest is not only for about what the regime should be. We are actually sparkling through the banning the social media. After that, we have gone to the protest just about the corruption has been going abruptly throughout the country. We are not simply seeing the corrupted people, corrupted leaders over there. They are doing whatever they want, what their family, their everything. They are doing a luxurious lifestyle they are having. But the youth, we have to go outside for the betterment of our country, for the betterment of those people who are leading. Actually, they are not our leaders. They are not being our leaders. We want dignity. We want justice. We want our future. Our youth should be in the country. We are leaving due to these corrupt peoples. That's the thing we are actually. But we believe in democracy. And then we should stay in the democracy. That's the thing, yeah.
Rajeshwar, I'm going to quickly ask you a follow-up as well. Many people now saying, especially critics, saying that young Nepalis out there onto the streets, they're angry, but they're unclear. Do you agree with that particular statement?
No.
What exactly does the Gen Z want?
No, actually, we are clear about what we have to do. The first thing is the banning the social media. They have a sparkle was, yeah. Actually, that was not the main thing. We are in the street. Why we are in the street is the first thing is the corruption. We have to end the corruption. We are in 107 rank, around 100 out of 180 countries. We score only 34 out of 100. And you can imagine how the corrupt people are here and in the name of democracy, how they are misleading the youths. Now, we don't.
But look at some of these visuals, Rajeshwar, as well. And to the entire panelists, the entire panel, we're learning of reports of the foreign minister being lynched. His bloodied face was earlier seen. The former prime minister's wife was burnt alive in that arson episode. Are you okay with all of that's happening? I mean, revolution is one thing, but when the lines start getting blurred, it might just become a problem for the same Nepali young youth that is out there protesting onto the streets.
No, actually, we are not going to the people. We are not going to whom it has to be done. But the people, the youths, they are crazy about those peoples who are misleading the country. Every time they are not judging the people by their opinions. They think that these peoples are the puppets. They cannot do anything. But we are in power and will be in the power and we can do whatever we like. So to end this type of situation, we need justice. We have to do serious action against this type of corrupt peoples. Actually, we started with slogans. We started with placards. But the army, the police, they started guns. And then after the guns, what we have to do? We have no options. We have to go and deal the situation what is in the field. So the strike was misled by the government, not by the youth.
Absolutely. The Gen Z's message is loud and clear, which is why the entire world, let alone the Indian subcontinent, is now talking about it. But these flying kicks on the finance minister, the foreign minister being manhandled like that, and the wife of the former prime minister being burnt alive, I mean, these are things that might just come back to bite the entire movement later on in the day? Well, the jury is still out on that. Let's wait and find out. Arun Subedi, geopolitical expert, joining us live from Kathmandu. He is with us also on the broadcast. Ambassador, do stay on with us. I'm going to come to you real quick next. Mr. Arun Subedi, let's understand.
I wanted to ask this young gentleman a question.
Yes, Ambassador. Absolutely. Once we're with you, Ambassador, we're going to quickly patch you through with the young gentleman. Mr. Subedi,
they may lose connectivity. That's what I was concerned about.
Yes, please.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We're going to get to that in just a quick bit. Mr. Subedi, Nepal scrapped monarchy in 2008, but since then has gone through frequent dissolutions. 15 years, 13 different prime ministers, 2 constitutions, and constant instability. Is this really democracy? Is this dysfunction? And that's the peg that we're looking at. We're bringing you and beaming you exclusive visuals from how mangled the metal looks like in the parliament right now, where arson has taken place, buildings being torched, federal buildings let alone. But what about this instability? Can one truly say that the transfer from absolute monarchy to republicanism was smooth and complete?
No, sir. The instability is not after the establishment of the state of republic. If we see the history of Nepal from 1949, none of the government, even in the autocratic panchayat regime, had served the full tenure. None of the prime minister served full tenure of 5 years. So we are in the political instability from the establishment of the democracy, from the first revolution. That's from 1950. So it's not just a matter of 1 decade.
So this has been going on for the longest time. So instability is not something that's new to this region, is what Arun Subedi is telling us.
See, Nepal is a geopolitically extremely sensitive location. Nepal is having has the extremely sensitive location.
That entire sensitivity can also be turned into some sort of human resource for all the people over there. It seems like the aspiration of the youth of Nepal is not being met with the right kind of imagination that the leaders and the legislators have kept for themselves.
But but at present, if you will see the government from 15 years after establishment of the state of republic,
right.
Then our constitution endorses the socialism. After that, no liberalization, no economic no economic delivery, and no the corruption was rampant, and when the people start to raise the voice, then government started to crack down on them. That's why the new generation, alpha generation, even alpha generation, millennial generation, and Gen Z all protested against it. Yesterday, the movement was just within the generation of Gen Z. But if you will watch the all videos, clips, then it has gone beyond.
Of course, it has blown out of proportion already. Ambassador, let me come to you. Of course, you can direct your questions to the young gentleman who's joining us live from Kathmandu as well, but help us retrace the steps a little bit. Help us understand what is this dilly-dally between Maoism, monarchy, and then modernism with, reference to democracy. Nepal has seen 13 prime ministers in 15 years since abolishing monarchy. Does this political musical chairs, do you think it's going to continue, and does it explain why the Generation Z has lost their faith in democracy? And of course, your question to the Gen Z with us on the broadcast.
Well, my question to the Gen Z was that we in India fully sympathize with the fact that there has been so much corruption, endemic corruption, that those who were most in favor of democracy, that's the young people, lost their faith in the system because there was no development, there was no employment. They were all forced to go abroad earn something and send some money back to their families to survive. On the other hand, I have witnessed, since I'm much older than you, the manner in which the Romanian dictator Ceausescu and his wife were executed 15 minutes after the revolution. And I always say that when you put to death in such a horrific manner somebody whom you feel may deserve it, but who has not had a fair chance of a trial, rule of law, etc., because tempers are inflamed, people are angry, people are upset. That lady was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was had petrol poured into her mouth and was put on fire. That actually retards the approach of the world watching all of you. So my suggestion would be that I'm sure that this is not supported by 95% of people in Gen Z, but it is important to bring the situation back under control so that what the UN calls summary and arbitrary execution, I worked for human rights for 6 years, does not happen in a place like Nepal. And the Nepalese people who are known for their gentleness, for their sympathy, etc. And perhaps that's one reason why such unbridled corruption took place for so many years, because people thought that they could fool the people all the time. You can't do that. So, on the other hand, to answer your question, Kabir, I would say it's not a question of running from monarchy to Maoism to democracy. The question is that none of these systems were able to root out endemic corruption and endemic poverty, so that when Nepal developed, which it did very slowly, the fruits of that prosperity did not trickle down to the people of Nepal. So if today we are seeing these horrific signs, it is because the young people of Nepal have given up hope in the system. What is most important is to rebuild a system in which they feel they can participate in nation building together, and where they are of the view that there is hope in their nation. They can all rebuild it, all Nepalese together. And for that, you would need to have, in my perspective, a democratic structure. Because only democracy of the people, for the people, by the people, even if it hasn't worked in Nepal so far, because the politicians became very corrupt, but you can have somebody younger, somebody more in tune with young people, a young person, maybe one of you, but it should be through a fair election. So my suggestion to all of you is, please first restore rule of law in Nepal so that a poor country doesn't get poorer. No problems will be resolved by burning down the parliament.
Exactly, and things don't get out of hand. You spoke about these young, firebrand leaders that could now take this space, can fill up that vacuum, and we've got two names in the shape of Balen Shah, and the other is Rabi Lamechane. These are two names that are now doing the rounds across. And Rabi, who's already incarcerated in prison at the Nakhu jail, we're learning that that prison was gherawed, and now he's been released from there. So again, an illicit move. Look at the so many illicit and illegal movements that have happened after this protest had taken shape, and which is why, that's again what the ambassador is saying. And Rajeshwar, do stick to that question. We're going to come to you on the other side, which is the hit and hurt to credibility of this movement with these kind of things and visuals that are now coming to light. Nobody is, against celebration of the Gen Z, but with, arbitrary killings and mob lynchings, of course, people are going to think differently. Also with us on the broadcast, Surendra Shah, Assistant General Secretary of the RPP, a prominent political party in Nepal, joining us live from Kathmandu. My question to you, Mr. Shah, Nepal moved from absolute monarchy to constitutional monarchy to republic in less than a span of 2 decades. That's quite fast. Has any other South Asian country seen a transition this rapid? And now that it's happened in Nepal, what cost do you think Nepal is paying for it? Because if I'm not wrong, it was your party that spearheaded and led the movement back in March, the Tinkune that happened, when the calls for a revival of the monarchy were shot down by the previously KP Oli led dispensation. So help us understand the history, help us understand the dysfunctional democracy that we've been seeing, and is the Hindu kingdom going to now come back? Is that chorus now only growing louder? Over to you.
Thank you very much. About the Hindu kingdom coming back, my party certainly hopes so, but in the form of a ceremonial monarchy. We want democracy in Nepal. We are with Gen Z. My whole party, my whole youth leadership, including myself, were in the
What if the
streets
Gen Z
today.
doesn't want a ceremonial monarchy? What if the Gen Z doesn't want it then?
Well, it's not a matter of if the Gen Z wants or not. Keeping in mind the geopolitical sensitivity, as Mr. Arun Subedi just mentioned a while ago, an institution of monarchy, even in a ceremonial role, is what we are aspiring for. And we are fully with the Gen Z, we are fully with democracy, and Nepal is at the precipice of historic moment. We are optimistic that it will
Mr. Shah, my apologies for interjecting in quick succession, but can you also have the viewers understand how would that change things? If the ceremonial monarchy comes in position, even if it's just, for namesake, there's a ceremonial power, there's a ceremonial monarch as the head of the state, how will that change things? We're looking at the monarchy turning into a republic, then you had the Maoist insurgency, so many lives that were lost. Did that really change things? That's the question on the show tonight. We're passing the baton too quick, and there's actually no improvement that's happening in terms of governance.
Yeah, well, ceremonial monarchy is just one of the variables that we're looking into. With that, democracy and impunity, corruption, jailing the corrupt leaders are other variables. Ceremonial monarchy is just one of the aspects that we are looking into. It's not the factor, it's one of the variables. So we are totally with the Gen Z, we are totally with democracy. Nepal is on the verge of historical change, and we hope that Gen Z, not only the Gen Z, but also the other honest people of Nepal come together and form a new Nepal that is prosperous and uncorrupt.
Ambassador, you heard all these developments and answers. The Nepal's tryst with Comrade, Crown, and of course the Constitution doesn't seem to be ending, because Mr. Shah here suggesting that ceremonial monarchy is just one aspect of it. You jail the political leaders, and which is why the question on News 9 since morning is this the Bangladesh toolkit at play here? What did happen there? Is this going to turn into another manhunt of all the other leaders that you were against, and then go across, pick them up one by one, jail them, put them in jail? It's the same that what happened in Bangladesh is happening in Nepal. Should India now worry, considering that we're sharing our borders with Nepal?
In fact, with Nepal, we have an open border. Not like with Bangladesh.
Yep.
It's an open border which you can cross at will. To have to close that border would be a very major decision for India. We have never closed the border with Nepal. We have always regarded the people of Nepal as like our own brothers and sisters. I live in Delhi, where I have Nepali friends working all over, and they always tell me कि दीदी हम लोग यहाँ आए हैं थोड़ा पैसा बना के हमारे परिवार को पैसा भेजते हैं, which they do. Huge amount of remittances the young Nepalis who come here to work send, so that their families can get educated, etc. So these are not violent people. These are very good people. They just have lost out because they didn't get good leadership. Very unfortunate. That is why I am trying to say that I don't want the world to think that Nepal is full of violent people. It's not. The Nepalese people are Hindus. They believe in their religion. They have commitment to the development of their nation. So, an action out of anger or rage should not give the wrong impression to people who don't know Nepal like Indians do. It disturbs me but does not alarm me, because I know Nepal very well, being an Indian. That is why I am saying that I don't think it matters whether a constitutional monarchy comes back or not. What matters is there should be democracy and rule of law, and the young people of Nepal, who are the majority of the people of Nepal, should have the right to free and fair elections to choose their next leader, who should focus on the development index. And I can assure our Nepalese guests that India will do its utmost to ensure that the development cooperation money, and we give a huge amount to Nepal every year, we will make sure that it goes where it should go, to development projects, to health, to education, to employment jobs, to development projects.
Ambassador, KP Oli was in India just a couple of months back. KP Oli was in India just a couple of months back, sharing the press statement stage with the Prime Minister. Only goes on to show that the ties between the two countries are absolutely sound and in the pink of its health. Rajeshwar, let me come to you next. You earlier heard the Ambassador's question and her plea to, of course, all the Nepalese youth out there. The credibility must not get hurt. You're right. You had to make a point. It was called for, which is why the message is loud and clear, and I think it has been registered. But do you think now, with the anger that we're still witnessing onto the streets, maybe that line has been crossed, and maybe it's time that the protesters and their ire be roped back in? There is a need for them to be placated. Don't you think so?
Yeah, right now the situation is being worst, but actually what our message is clear. The message is, listen to us, don't silence us. The message is very clear. But right now, we don't want this type of movement which is going on right now. And right now, what we are feeling is stop. You have to stop right now, because our public property is going to be damaged and everything has been worse. So right now, we are saying them that we have to stop this. Now we have to be in the dialogue. We have to be in the negotiation. But our message is, don't fear us. You have to hear us. That's our thing, yeah. But right now, everything has been gone to the level of the youth who are frustrated from all the things. Because right now, what you have seen right now, this is the result. Actually, we are being desperately. We are not wanting this type of democracy in our country. We have seen lots of protests. We have seen the protests of Indonesia, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and many more in the South Asia. But we are being quiet. Nepal is not what you see right now. We are so clear. But as before, Arun Subedi sir told us, we are being the cockpit as well. We know that as well. But we are being silenced till now. Why?
Because I think it's safe to say, Rajeshwar, you're not going to be silenced anymore. Everybody is going to listen to the Gen Z. Nobody is going to take the Gen Z or the Nepalese youth lightly. But several questions that have now, of course, come to light, whether who's going to lead this forward. Many thanks to my entire panel of experts. Ambassador, many thanks for joining us here on the broadcast. In tonight's discussion, it leaves us with that stark reminders. Maybe it's too soon to be asking that question about instability and the transfer of power. But since abolishing monarchy in 2008, Nepal has seen 13 prime ministers in 15 years, more than 25 governments in 3 decades, and a generation that now feels democracy has delivered only corruption and chaos. From monarchy to Maoism to now a messy republic, Nepal's story is one of constant transition but little stability. And the big question for now, which we tried decoding, seems like it'll take a little bit more time. Will Gen Z now rewrite Nepal's future? That's the big question and food for thought. Many thanks for watching this episode of In Your Interest. Top developments right on the other side. एसोसिएट स्पॉन्सर एंकर टूथपेस्ट, नए जमाने की नई सुरक्षा।
The power of Digi-Alkaline from Nippo Thor.
Breaking news. Major disruption is expected this week.
Yes, disruption confirmed. That's me. Relax. No scams. Just my brand new show. News